In this video, we're going to attempt to answer that all-important question: how do I find scholarly literature on my research topic? Let's begin on the library homepage. Now for this video, let's assume we are nursing students trying to find current literature on our graduate thesis topic. When searching for scholarly literature on your topic, it can be tempting to use the Everything Search tab. But I warn against this approach, as the name implies the Everything tab searches across nearly all of our resources, which can make it hard to effectively narrow your search down to just relevant results. The best way to find relevant scholarly articles on your research topic is to search in one or more of the academic databases the library subscribes to, which provide electronic access to scholarly journal articles. Simply click on the Databases Search tab and use the subject drop-down to see recommended databases for your discipline. I'm going to select Nursing. From here, we're taken to a list of all the databases relevant to nursing research, with our top recommended resources listed first in the yellow Best Bets box. Beneath the name of each database is a brief description of the type of content you will expect to find in the database, to help you choose which one's right for you. For nursing, one of the top resources available is CINAHL, so I'm going to try searching in this database. Now this page should look relatively familiar to anyone who has searched in an academic database before. We have multiple boxes to enter our search terms, drop-downs to choose what fields we want to search across, and then three ways to connect our search terms together: and, or, and not. We'll talk more about these connectors in a moment. But before we get into the mechanics of searching, we first need to identify our search topic and extract the relevant search terms from it. We call these our keywords. So let's say our research question is: are video monitoring systems in hospitals effective at helping to prevent or reduce the amount of falls among elderly inpatients? Most of us used to performing searches in Google might be tempted to just plug that entire search question into the box. But academic databases don't operate quite in the same manner as Google does. When searching in academic databases, you'll only get results where there is an exact match to the terms you put into the search boxes. In other words, the term I put into this box has to appear somewhere in the searchable fields of the article record. And by searchable fields, I mean any of the options listed in the dropdown, such as title, author, publication, abstract, and so forth. By default, this box is usually set to search across all fields, but you can always choose to limit your search to just a specific field. Okay, so let's take a look at our research question again and try to select keywords or phrases that we use in our search. At first glance, I'm seeing these terms: video monitoring systems, hospitals, prevent, falls, and elderly inpatients. This is a good start, but we can refine these terms even further. For instance, the word systems in video monitoring systems isn't necessarily helpful to us, as the author of an article might only have used the term video monitoring, not video monitoring systems, in the title or the abstract of the article, so we'll get rid of that. We also don't necessarily need to add in hospitals or even inpatients, since the journals in our database are already pretty focused on healthcare. Plus, we can always add these terms back into our search later, if we find we need to narrow down the results we get. It's always better to start broad and then narrow down if needed. So I'm going to enter the search terms video monitoring, falls, prevention, and elderly. Okay, so we have some terms, but we need to think about how we're connecting them together. As I mentioned before, we have three options when connecting terms in databases: and, or, and not. A helpful way to explain these terms, which collectively are called Boolean operators, is to visualize them as a Venn diagram. So let's say we have two search terms: autism and children. If we do a search for autism and children, we'll only retrieve results where both terms appear somewhere in the searchable fields. This is the overlapping section of a Venn diagram. If we do a search for autism or children, we'll still get results where both terms are present, but we'll also get results where just autism is present or just children is present. As you can see, this gets us a much broader set of results, but in this case, many of those results won't be relevant to our research. Lastly, we have the NOT connector. This connector can be used to ignore all results that have a specific term present. Maybe we're doing research on autism, but aren't interested in research relating to children. We can search autism not children, and all articles that use the word children will be removed. Now, this search won't get rid of all results that relate to children, since the author may have used a different term, such as teens or even just child. But more on that in a moment. Let's go back to our search terms now. Most of the time, you'll be connecting your keywords using the AND connector, which hopefully makes sense. If you pull a keyword from your research question, it stands to reason that you'll want that term to be present somewhere in the searchable fields of all the search results. But that's not to discount the importance of the OR connector. Now, the best use of the OR is to use it to capture synonyms or other similar, variant, or related terms to the keywords we've selected. Remember, the database is looking for exact matches, so we want to make sure we think of all possible terms the author may have used. For instance, we don't know if the author of an article used the term prevent or prevention, so we'll want to put prevent or prevention. And you'll notice I wrote the OR out within the search box itself, which you can do with any of the connectors, and the database will fully understand what you're doing. Another essential search tool available is the use of quotation marks. If we put multiple terms within quotation marks, we're telling the database that all the results need to have those terms in that exact order. Otherwise, the database will add an invisible AND connector between each word, and thus they won't necessarily appear in that exact order, or even in the same search fields unless we've restricted our search box to just a specific field. Anytime we have a multi-word search term or phrase, we'll likely want to put it within quotation marks. Okay, so our search is looking pretty good, but we can actually clean it up a little bit further by using another tool in our arsenal: truncation. Truncation allows you to truncate a word using a specified symbol, usually the asterisk, and simultaneously search for all terms that begin with that sequence of letters. In our search example, instead of using OR to search for prevent or prevention, we can simply put prevent with an asterisk at the end, and the database will know to search for any term that begins with prevent, such as prevention, preventing, preventative, and so on. Now that's certainly easier than having to connect all those different terms using ORs. Before we perform our search, I want to quickly point out some of the various ways you can refine or limit your search on the homepage. These limiters are database specific, so each database will have different options available to you. For example, in CINAHL, we can limit our search to just articles written by a nurse, to randomized control trials, or by clinical query type, such as qualitative research. The publication type limiter is also helpful, as it includes an option for just systematic reviews. As you can see, CINAHL offers quite a few highly specific limiters, so I do encourage you to explore some of these options. For our demo search, I'm going to stick to just our keyword search. Okay, so now for the moment of truth. Let's see what we get with the search query we've built. One result. Well, that was a bit disappointing. Now, I know it's easy to panic when you see that happen, but let's not get too alarmed yet. Let's re-examine our search terms and think of ways we can broaden our search. The first thing we should consider is removing elderly as a search term, which could be one of the factors limiting our results. Let's go ahead and remove that and see what we get. Better, but still quite low. Perhaps not searching for video monitoring as an exact phrase could help. Let's try just video and monitor. And I'm going to use the asterisk to truncate that. That gives us a couple more, so let's try removing monitor completely. Now that gives us a bit more, but as I scroll through them, I'm noticing several results that aren't really related to video monitoring, Some are about educational videos for staff. Some are about using video games as physical therapy tool. Now, to weed out the articles relating to video games, I can go back to my search boxes and add a not game to my search. That gets rid of a good handful, but as I scroll through these results, I'm beginning to see that really all the relevant articles on my topic do seem to use the term monitoring. So I'm actually going to go back and add that to my search again. Searching is trial and error. Sometimes things work, sometimes things don't. Sometimes you go back to searches you've had before. Okay, so we have 21 results. That's not ideal, especially when I see that only 7 of them are from academic journals. And I'll talk more about these side limiters in a moment. Another way we can increase the number of results we're seeing is to add in additional databases to our search. If we remember, we're currently searching in the CINAHL database, which is hosted by EBSCO. If we click the Choose Databases link above the search boxes, we can add in any additional databases Damon offers that are hosted by EBSCO. I'm going to add in another great database, Medline, which will give us more journal articles to search through. By adding in Medline, we see that our results have jumped up to 71, which is a number we can work with. If I find that the results still don't give me enough relevant articles, then I can try a couple of things. I can add in additional databases or change the database I'm searching in. I can further modify my search terms, or if need be, I can make a change to my research topic. Sometimes there just aren't enough articles on a topic. For the sake of this demo, let's go ahead and assume that I like this set of results. Okay, now let's talk more about the various limiters available on the side of the page. Again, each database will have their own specific options, but most of the key ones are universal across all databases. The first limiter we'll use is the source type limiter. Now we know that we only want articles published in peer-reviewed academic journals, so I'll go ahead and check off academic journals as our source type. The next thing we want to do is think about our publication date range. Now this will depend on the requirements of your assignment or research, but let's say that I only want recent research, so I'm going to limit my results to only articles published within the last 5 years or so. Now, the last limiter I like to check is language, just to make sure there aren't any articles in languages I'm not fluent in. In this case, all of our articles are in English. We can now begin clicking on the titles of results that sound promising. But before we do, it's important to note that just because an article is listed in the results page, it doesn't mean that the full text of the article is available within the databases we're searching in. We can quickly identify the articles that have the full text available, as they'll have a link to the PDF full text. However, if there's no link to view the full text, you'll instead see a Search Damon for Full Text link. Clicking this link will do one of two things. First, our system will check to see if the article is available in any of our other databases. If it is, you'll be redirected to that database where you can view and download the article. If it's not available in any of our databases, then it will take you to this page where you'll be asked to request the article through interlibrary loan. Click the link titled Request this article through TPASA Interlibrary Loan to be taken to a pre-populated request form, and then just click the Submit button at the bottom of the page. The service is completely free, and you'll usually receive an email with the link to view and download the article within 24 hours, so long as it's an item that we're able to get from another library. Okay, so let's now click into a promising sounding result to see what a detailed item record looks like. The detailed item record lists all of the relevant information about an article. All the fields listed here constitute the content that is searchable by the database, such as title, authors, publication source, and a field called subject terms. These are specific terms used to describe the content of each article. Every article that has been tagged with the term Accidental Falls, Prevention and Control will in some way discuss the prevention and control of accidental falls. By clicking on this term, I can see all articles that have been tagged with this term, then build a new search query around this set of results, should I want to. That about covers the mechanics of searching within databases, but there are a few more features worth pointing out. On the detailed item record page, you'll notice a toolbar on the right-hand side of the screen. Here, you'll find some useful ways to save and share the results you find, such as emailing the article information to yourself or someone else. Maybe you prefer just copying a URL and emailing it to yourself. If you like this method, then be warned that the URL listed in the search bar of your browser is strictly a session-based link and won't work if you try to follow that link later. If you do want to email yourself a link back to this exact page, then you'll want to use what EBSCO calls a permalink. Some databases use different terminology, but the moral of the story is to always check to see if the database provides a permanent link, or permalink, before copying the link in your browser's URL bar. Another way to save and organize your research is to create an account with EBSCO by clicking the Sign In button and then following the links to create an account. By creating an account, you can save and organize articles into folders and subfolders by clicking the Add to Folder tool. If you decide you like this method, make sure to sign in before you start saving articles to your folder. Otherwise, the articles will go into a temporary session-based folder that will disappear once your session ends. In addition to saving individual articles, you can save your entire results page, which comes in handy if you spent a lot of time crafting a perfect search query, but don't have time to begin digging into the results. From the search results page, click the Share dropdown, and then either add it to your folder if you have an account, or copy the permalink and email that to yourself. The last tool I'm going to mention, which is back on the toolbar in the article record page, is the handy Cite option. This will give you a rough citation for the article in most popular citation styles, such as APA. But be aware that no citation generator is perfect. You'll still need to fix any errors or missing information. Thus, having a basic knowledge of your citation style, or at least where to go check to find it, is essential. If you're interested in a free software that serves not only as a citation generator that integrates with Microsoft Word, but also as a way to capture articles and article information from any database, save them to your computer, and organize them into folders, then I highly recommend checking out Zotero, which is available for download at www.zotero.org. That concludes this video. You should now feel at least a little more confident with selecting and searching through databases to find literature on your research topic. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to a Damon College librarian.